A very good evening. From stories around the world to stories here at home, this is the National News Broadcast. I'm Vidushni Satish Kumar.
Good evening, I'm Clifford Richards. First of all, we take a look at the headlines. Many areas where corona-infected persons were found have been removed from isolation. Solutions given to the requests made to the President by the people in Polonnaruwa in less than 24 hours. 23 who had the corona vaccine in Norway died. 52 Indian health workers get side effects. Constructions of the Hunnaskirje-Mimure road abandoned by the previous government have commenced. A national program introduced to protect 27 main rivers. Sand mining in Maniganga prohibited. Results of the GCE advanced level examination expected in April. Moving on to the stories in detail. Modernization of the Hinguraguda Rajarata school grounds commenced today on the instructions of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. It was according to a request made to the President by the people during the Gamasamaga Pilisandarak program yesterday at Polonnaruwa Madirigiriya Vadikachya village yesterday. It is significant to note that a solution has been given in less than 24 hours. The sixth phase of the Gamasamaga Pilisandarak program, held yesterday with the aim of solving problems of rural communities, Principal of the Hinguraguda Rajarata School, the Venerable Girithale Sirisujata Thera, briefed the President about the problems at his school. The Venerable Thera said that the school is more than 70 years old and there is a shortage of physical facilities. He said that the school has classes from grade 6 to 13, but there are no library facilities. He said that the playground has not been modernized, although all schools in the Hinguraguda zone hold their annual sports meets at the playground. Therefore, he said that the students are facing severe hardships. The President in response asked to renovate the playground through the nearest army camp as requested by the Thera. He said that necessary funds will be provided for the library. According to the instructions of the President, Engineering Regiment of the Sri Lanka Army commenced modernization of the playground this morning. It is the biggest playground belonging to a school in Hinguraguda zone. The annual divisional and zonal athletic competitions are held in this playground. Hinguraguda Rajarata School has won the championship continuously from 2000 to 2017 in the zonal athletics competition. They have also recorded all-island victories. Principal of the school, the Venerable Sirisujata Thera, said that sporting abilities of students will further improve their modernization of the playground. The Venerable Thera said that a group of army officers came within 24 hours after receiving the President's order to look into the needs. He said that the renovation of the playground commenced today, and he further said observations were made about the library and steps have been taken to take necessary measures.
The development of Kobet's Gap to Mimure, which is the entry route to Mimure village, commenced today with the participation of many parliamentarians, including Minister Johnston Fernando. The distance of the road is 13 kilometers. 235 million rupees has been allocated to develop the road. It will be developed under the supervision of Road Development Authority. Mimure village has won the attraction of local and foreign tourists. Then President and present Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa commenced building the road in 2013. More than 3 kilometers were developed during that time, and the Good Governance government abandoned the developing the roads after coming into power in 2015. The present government commenced the development of the road as an extension of road development process launched in 2013. A group of officials, including Minister Keheli Rambukwalla, State Ministers Nimal Lansa and Rohan Ratwatta, were present on the occasion. Minister Nalma Rajapaksa has emphasized that stern decisions will be taken after discussions with the Cricket Board after the end of England series, as the present situation of cricket is not satisfactory. The The minister mentioned this yesterday while attending the national program to uplift rural economy which took place at Kalutara District Secretariat. Mahaweli Helabojun Hala and produce trade stall built at Dehayattakandiya area was vested with the public yesterday by Minister Chamal Rajapaksa. A green garden has also been set up at the premises. The aim of the project is to provide local food without toxins prepared from fresh produce purchased from the Mahaweli farmers. Priority has been given to the products of Mahaweli C-zone entrepreneurs. Sri Lanka Mahaweli Authority has funded the project. A group of people, including State Ministers Siripala Gamlat and Tenuka Vidanagamage, were present on the occasion. Vendaruwala Lower Community Hall, built with the funds from Madadumbara Pradesh Sabha, was vested with the public yesterday under the patronage of Minister Keheli Rambakwella. 2.5 million rupees has been spent to construct the building. Anunayaka of the Asgiri chapter, Venerable Vendaruwe Upalitera, was present on the occasion. The foundation stone was laid to Pothuarava Rural Bank and Cope City building of Battaramulla Cooperative Society. The foundation stone was laid under the patronage of Minister Bandula Gunawardena and with the participation of MP Jagat Kumara.
And now moving on to the pandemic situation locally, the number of COVID-19 recoveries in the country has increased up to 44,746. 12 recovered COVID-19 patients at the COVID-19 treatment centers in Polonnaruwa district were discharged today, and their residents of Colombo and Gampaha districts. The total of 9,942 COVID-19 recoveries have been reported in the country since the beginning of this month. The highest number of patients recovered in the single day has been recorded in the first of this month, which is 826. Another 425 have recovered and left treatment centers. The percentage of fully recovered patients has increased to 85.82. Accordingly, 13.70% or 7,207 patients are undergoing treatment. Another 321 patients were identified in the island today. 320 of them are contacts of the Palyagoda COVID cluster, and one of them belonged to the prisons cluster. (13,681) PCR tests were conducted yesterday. Accordingly, the total number of PCR tests up to now has reached 1,485,087. Another COVID-19 death was reported yesterday. An 82-year-old woman from Atulkote died due to the infection. 7 schools which have been temporarily closed due to the pandemic will reopen tomorrow. Vavuniya District Secretary T.M. Saman Bandulasena said that trade stalls which are temporarily closed in areas for high-risk areas will reopen tomorrow. Nawalpindi town and public places were disinfected today. Chairman of the Nawalpindi Traders Association, Kitsiri Karunadasa, said that the town will reopen tomorrow. Meanwhile, a group of Sri Lankans from Dubai, Mali, Doha, Australia, Japan and India arrived in this country this morning at the Kattunayake International Airport. The group includes 567 persons. Parliamentarians and staff of the parliament were subject to PCR tests after several MPs were infected with COVID-19. Accordingly, PCR tests were conducted on 911, including 32 MPs. It has been confirmed that the members of parliament have not been infected with the virus. 5 persons belonging to the parliament staff and other officers, 1 person in the security unit and 3 employed in the security zone outside Parliament were identified as patients. Their places of travel and close contacts are being identified using CCTV footage. A program to conduct PCR tests once a week by randomly selecting contacts of Parliament is also underway. Under that, 200 have been tested and they have not been infected with the virus. No office of the Parliament has been closed with the pandemic. A statement issued by the Parliament says that the Parliament building has been disinfected, and on several occasions and after finding patients and contacts, those places were disinfected again. Senior SP Kandy Sudat Marsinga says that 4 police officers who were attached to the police post at the Kandy Shri Dalada Maligawa have been infected with COVID-19. 231 officers were subjected to self-quarantine, although they were not directly on duty with the police officers at the Maligawa. 189 officers of the Kandy division and acting OIC has been deployed for service. Diwatan Nilame Pradeep Nilanga Dayala says that none of the staff working at the Maligawa have been infected with the virus. In areas except the Western Province and isolated areas, Dhamma schools and other areas commenced today adhering to health guidelines. Isolation of several Grama Nilgiri divisions in the Kalutara police area was lifted today. Isolation of part of the 725 Kalutara Grama Seva Nilgiri division, 725A Kalutara, a part of the 725B Velapura Grama Nilgiri division, and also 727 Matavatta Grama Nilgiri division have been removed. Isolation of remaining parts except Mafur Crescent of 727B Hinatigala Grama Nilgiri division, 727C Kuruduvatta and 727E Akkaraguda and 730 Vettumakadda South Grama Nilgiri division has been removed. Isolation part of the 730A Kalapur Grama Nilgiri division and also part of the 730B Katukurunda Grama Nilgiri divisions has been lifted from isolation. 743A Akramale Grama Nilgiri division of Beruala police area have been removed from isolation list. Isolation of the Tundua East and Tundua West Grama Nilgiri divisions of Indurua has been lifted this morning. Steps have been taken to isolate several other areas. East Gallolua Grama Nilgiri division and West Gallolua Grama Nilgiri division of the Minuangada police area were isolated. The National Operations Center to prevent the spread of COVID-19 says that Mattawa area in Warakamura Meedenia and Dehipitiya Grama Nilgiri division of the Matale police area has been isolated. 29 persons outside the Western Province who have ignored health protective measures have been arrested during the past 24 hours ended 6 a.m. today. 2,578 have been arrested so far for ignoring health protective measures.
Director General of Health Services Dr. Asela Gunawardana says that necessary guidelines have been handed over to the Tourism Ministry to recommence the tourism industry within health protective methodologies from January 21st. Well, he stressed that the relevant approval has only been granted for the tourism sector in the country.
We have given a guideline on tourism for the tourism ministry to start the tourism industry from 21st of January. It is purely only for the tourism, and we have given the guideline how can the tourist operated from airport to the hotel, from hotel to sightseeing, and on a biosecure bubble. And they will be subject to the PCR testing at the hotel the first day and the 7th day and the 14th day. And if all three PCRs are negative, they can go in for the sightseeing freely. But until such time, they will be traveling in a biosecure bubble, and it will be communicated to the area PHIs, MOHs, as well as to the RDHs on the region for their supervision. I earnestly requesting from all the people who are engaging in this tourism industry to protect all the health guidelines which were given by the health ministry to secure the safety of the people of this country. The last meeting held with His Excellency President, the matter was brought up that most of the establishment, they have installed washing places, but there were no adequate liquid soap or soap is available, or sometimes even the water is not coming through the taps. So His Excellency was directed and given orders to the Inspector General of Police, send the environmental police and search for these places and to take the remedial actions according to the quarantine law, because this is the prime important of the establishment to carry out the regulation given by the quarantine law and provide all these facilities for the customers who are coming to that place or for the officers, because it will promote the spread of disease if we are not adhering to this health guidelines. So it is a paramount important to functions all these places as per given guidelines, otherwise we'll have to take a legal action against the institutions according to the quarantine law. We are now at the cluster stage of community because we have seen there are few clusters are coming up in several places, but we are in the cluster stage. So still we are in a control position that we can detect all the cases, and we are taking all these cases to the treatment center. So if the general public is giving their fullest support, we will be able to contain this disease by this our control strategies.
We're now going to take a quick check on the global situation with regard to the COVID-19 pandemic. The novel coronavirus has infected nearly 95 million people globally and claimed more than 2 million lives. The total number of COVID-19 cases in the United States surpassed 23.75 million, with nearly 400,000 deaths at present. Well, by far, the United States remains the nation's worst hit by the pandemic, with world's most cases and most deaths making up more than 25% of the global caseload. The U.S. federal government has been urging states to expand vaccination coverage and has pledged to build a strategic stockpile to ensure that those who have been vaccinated receive their second dose in time. However, reports have indicated that the state governors have accused the federal government recently of deceiving the states on the amount of COVID-19 vaccine they can expect to receive as they ramp up vaccinations for senior citizens and others. The governors said hospitals could stop making and taking appointments for the first dose if vaccines supplies fail to improve as expected, leaving a large number of Americans eligible for the vaccine without appointments and triggering panic. In the face of criticism and anger from states, the federal government blames the lack of vaccine supplies on chaotic state distribution and misplaced expectations of the federal government. Norway, meanwhile, had said that COVID-19 vaccines may be too risky for the frail, elderly and terminally ill. The most cautious statement yet from the European Health Authority as countries assess the real-world side effects of the first shots to gain approval. Norwegian officials said 23 people had died in the country a short time after receiving the first dose of the vaccine. The recommendations has not suggested that the younger, healthier people should avoid being vaccinated, but considered as an early indication as countries begin to issue safety monitoring reports on the vaccines. Meanwhile, 52 healthcare workers who were administered the first dose of the corona vaccine in New Delhi have suffered side effects according to state government. While 51 showed minor side effects including chest tightness, one suffered a severe case of an adverse event following immunization on the first day of the nationwide rollout of the vaccine. A total of 191,100 people were vaccinated in India on the first day of the world's largest nationwide vaccination drive against coronavirus. Meanwhile, Brazil has 61,500 new confirmed cases reported in the past 24 hours and 1,050 deaths, the fifth consecutive day with more than 1,000 fatalities. The South American country has now registered more than 8.4 million cases since the pandemic began, and the official death toll has risen to nearly 210,000. It is the world's third worst outbreak outside the United States and India. Cumulative COVID-19 death toll in France has risen to 70,000 yesterday after 196 deaths were reported in the previous 24 hours. The country has also reported 21,406 new confirmed coronavirus infections over the previous 24 hours, increasing the tally to 2.9 million at present.
Well, moving on to COVID-19 update from India. India began one of the world's biggest COVID-19 vaccination programs, the first major developing country to roll out the vaccine, marking the beginning of an effort to immunize more than 1.3 billion people. Well, the first dose was administered to a health worker at All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Delhi after the Prime Minister Narendra Modi kick-started the campaign with a national televised speech.
India launched one of the world's largest vaccination campaigns through video conferencing on Saturday, aiming to bring the pandemic under control. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed health workers.
India is going to start the world's largest vaccination drive. I congratulate the countrymen for this.
बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं.
Modi will not immediately take the vaccine himself, as India is initially prioritizing 30 million nurses, doctors and others on the front line. About 270 million over 50s or those deemed high risk will follow. Sanitation worker Manish Kumar became the first person in India to be vaccinated against COVID-19 in the country. On the first day of vaccinations, around 100 people will be voluntarily vaccinated in each of the 3,006 centres in India. Indians won't have a choice between the Oxford University AstraZeneca vaccine and a government-backed homegrown one from Bharat Biotech, whose efficacy is not known. Both are being produced locally. India has reported the highest number of coronavirus infections after the United States. The country wants to vaccinate around 300 million people with 2 doses in the first 6 to 8 months of the year.
So that's the global update, and now we come back home with more local stories. People in the Alla area say that they face severe difficulties due to the collapsed tourism industry. They said that they are undergoing severe hardships since tourists did not come to that area for nearly 1 year. Well, there was a huge tourist attraction to Alla area where many attractive places are located, including the Ravana waterfall. Accordingly, a large-scale tourist hotels, restaurants and homestays were set up in the area, and their livelihood was the tourism industry. With the collapsed tourism industry due to the corona pandemic, people in the Alla area are facing severe hardships.
Meanwhile, several electoral seat meetings of Sri Lanka Podjana Peramuna were held today and yesterday. Youth and women's meetings had also been organized to coincide with the seat meetings. It has been organized under the theme Siv Desa Suraki Siv Wasarak. All meetings had been organized according to health protective measures. Mathura electoral seat meeting of Sri Lanka Podjana Peramuna was held yesterday under the patronage of Minister Chamal Rajapaksa. A group of public representatives, Speaker Mahinda Yappa Abeywadana and MP Nipuna Ranawka were present at the meeting. Another electoral seat meeting of Sri Lanka Podjana Peramuna in connection with its anniversary was held at Kasbawa Urban Council Hall yesterday. It took place under the patronage of Minister Gami Lokuge. The women's electoral seat meeting of Muratuwa of Sri Lanka Podjana Peramuna was held yesterday. It was held under the patronage of Muratuwa mayors Saman Lal Fernando. A meeting of Kolonnawa Youth Front took place yesterday at the Kolonnawa office of Sri Lanka Podjana Peramuna. The meeting has been organised by Kolonnawa organizer of the party Ajit Subasingha. Dharaniyagala electoral seat meeting of Sri Lanka Podjana Peramuna was held yesterday. A group of public representatives, including MP Radhika Wickramasinghe, attended the meeting. Uva Paranagama Youth meeting of Sri Lanka Podjana Peramuna took place at the Ambagasduwa President's College yesterday. It was held under the patronage of former MP Chamika Buddhadasa. The youth electoral seat meeting of Avisawala was held yesterday at Meepe Community Hall Auditorium. A group of people, including public representatives of the party, were present on the occasion. Ratmanala electoral seat meeting of Sri Lanka Podjana Peramuna was held today under the patronage of State Minister Indika Anuruddha. Borala electoral seat meeting of Sri Lanka Podjana Peramuna was held today. It took place also under the patronage of State Minister Indika Anuruddha.
Minister of Education Professor J.L. Perez says that it will be possible to release results of the GCE Advanced Level Examination in April. Students are scheduled to be admitted to universities in September. The minister mentioned this to media after calling over on the Anunayakas of the Askiri and Malwatu chapters. Minister of Education Professor J.L. Perez said that schools were reopened according to a streamlined process under the health guidelines. He said that if the advanced level examination was not conducted, still those students would be at home. 362,000 students sat for the examination. The minister said that the results of the examination will be issued by April. Then they will be able to enter universities in September. The dates have been fixed for the GCE ordinary level examination from 1st to 11th of March. The results of the examination will be issued by June. The minister said that the gap of 1.5 years remains between issuing of GCE advanced level examination and results and university entrance. Therefore, he said that it has been changed and support of everyone is needed for that.
A new program to conserve 27 main rivers commenced today from Kathragama. The project is implemented in connection with the World Water Day. According to the project, sand mining in Maniganga will be prohibited. Various individuals acquiring lands adjacent to Maniganga and dumping garbage on its banks, damaging the environment, have led to the bank. Steps will be taken to prevent clearing of forests near the river and damaging the environment. A program to clean Maniganga daily to provide clean water to wild animals in the Yala Wildlife Park and to Kathragama has been implemented. A national program is implemented on the instructions of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and under the supervision of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The main Radha Mahasangha, state officials and a group of people were present on the occasion.
The Indian Air Force has donated air defense equipment and radar spare parts to the Sri Lanka Air Force. They were handed over officially at the Katunayaka Air Force Base. The equipment was handed over to the Air Force Commander, Air Marshal Sudarshana Patirana, by Indian High Commissioner in Sri Lanka, Gopal Bagle. The Indian High Commissioner said that the Indian Air Force is prepared always to assist the Sri Lanka Air Force. So with that, we are done with the news, correct? And do enjoy the rest of the program. Take care and